Hi, I'm Pam Renna, and author of 7 books, along with my celebrated YouTube podcast, Envision Your Life One Step at a Time. Each week we'll discuss how you'll learn to overcome all obstacles and challenges you face each day on your way to creating a life you always wanted. We will take each thought that pops in your head, the dream that Spirit has placed in your heart, and make it your reality. It won't be an easy journey, I can promise you that. However, the tougher the struggle, the bigger the reward. Join me each week. Feel free to comment. Let's get started on your new path today, one step at a time. We all know that change is the hardest thing to do in life. Some changes we have no choices over, and some that we do. Take a look at your life. Do you love what you do? Do you love going to work each day? Do you love waking up in the morning saying, wow, I can't wait to get back to my office? Or are you like dragging your feet saying, oh, I got to go there again, but it's a great paycheck? If that's where you're at, I want you to reassess your life and speak to Spirit. Spirit will always guide you. Look at what you're doing. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, hey, am I really where I want to be? Do you have the courage to change it? Because it takes courage. It takes a lot to change your life from what you're used to. Because the journey and the path that you would be going on is a new one. And when it's the unknown is scary. But once you get there, you're like, I should have done this sooner. Like back in when COVID hit, the summer of COVID, and I was in Miami. I was in Florida, and I was going to move to Miami because I fell in love with Florida. I spent the whole summer there, and I wrote 4 of my quote books. And I just love the energy because I'm an empath, and an empath is someone who takes on other people's energy. So I'm surrounded by water and sun and the palm trees. And then I come back to New York, and it's like everyone was angry, and the city just wasn't the same anymore. Everybody was just very aggressive, and it was just really bad negative energy. And it goes against my core of who I am. And it was funny because that's when I made a decision I was moving to Miami. I said, okay, I prayed about it, obviously, and I asked Spirit, and I found a beautiful apartment right on the water. And then out of the blue, I get a phone call from my producer, and he says to me, I had acquired a recording studio. Would you like to have a show? So I was like, wow, of course I would. But now here I am given 2 different paths. I can go to Miami or I could stay in New York. So this is my choice now. This is what intuitively I need to decide which path I would take. I mean, obviously I took the New York path, not knowing what Miami had for me. I don't know. But I know now that this was the right path for me. But when you listen to Spirit, you have to be open and look for signs. I mean, have you seen that when you walk around, you be thinking of something, and pay attention to this as you're walking around, to your thoughts, because if you see numbers in sequence like 222, 555, 666, which is not a bad number, those are the angels talking to you. So be aware of that, and then think about what you were thinking. Then think back to what you were thinking at that moment, because they're answering you. They're giving you the answers. So do some shadow work. And what I mean by shadow work is really take a good look at yourself. All your flaws, things you don't like about yourself. And you know what? Do something about it. We have one life to live here. If you had all the money, there was no issues about paying any bills, what would be the one thing that would truly make you happy? Down to your core. I want you to think long and hard about that. And if you can't answer that, then this message is for you. You need to envision where you want to be. Envision that dream. Dreams are put into your heart from Spirit. They don't just come out of thin air. It's whether you choose to take that dream and go for it. It's not an easy path. That's why 90% of people give up, because it's hard. You get knocked down so many times, but it just makes you stronger. And if you truly want this dream with every ounce of you, you'll get right back up, brush yourself off, and keep going. I've been knocked down so many times, and I just keep getting up by just being positive. And you have to keep the faith. It's all about keeping, and it's also about trusting the process. You have to trust this process. It's not easy, but when you trust it, it works. So what I want you to do is I want you to sit down, think long and hard about where you are in your life. It doesn't matter how old you are. It does not matter. And, you got to remember, age is just a number. I want you to sit down. I want you to write it down, and look in the mirror and say, if you had everything around you, monetarily speaking, but there was that one thing you want, go get it. There's nothing saying you can't get it. And it's funny how spirit works, because if it's not meant for you, there'll be like with Miami and New York situation. If it's not meant for you, you could take the other path. There'll always be something else for you. They'll never leave you. Never leave you hanging, as long as you trust the process and keep the faith. And remember, surround yourself with people that have your back, that support you, and you support them, because the support system is really, really key here. It's key. So I want you to enjoy the rest of my podcast. Enjoy the quote I created for the week, so you can be motivated and inspired. I'll leave you with that. Okay, welcome to the part of my show that is the oracle readings. My favorite angel cards, as everyone knows is my favorite. And this is the spirit animal, and then it's the bird. I spoke to spirit, and spirit guided me into doing these decks for today. Each week will be something different, but it's basically animal themed. I think that's kind of cool, and I love birds too. So let's get started. So again, this is for the collective. These decks have been cleared. I shuffled them. I do not know what these cards are. I'll be just as surprised as you are when I turn them over. So let's get started. And if it doesn't resonate with you, just let it go. But if it does, awesome. Okay, beaver spirit, lay a solid foundation. And when we think of beavers, what do we think of? When they build their dams, they make sure that they get each the twigs, and they get everything that they need to make sure that they're building a solid foundation, so that water will not go where they don't want it to go. With any job that you're going after, any career, spirit will put in your heart and in your gut what it is they want you to desire for what you want for your life. And you look for the signs. There's so many signs around us. Like, I'm a big person for numbers. Like when you see in sequence, like you see 222, which means surrender to the flow and trust the process, new opportunities. You may see 666, which is not a bad number. And to re-examine your life and get into better alignment. One of my big numbers that I see all the time is 555, which is major life changes and manifesting. So what you're manifesting, obviously your desires are coming from spirit. They put them in your heart. But you have to be smart about it. You have to make sure that that is what spirit wants for you. So you need to ask these questions, like, am I on the right path? Is this really what you want from me? And then get and build that solid foundation. And the beaver also represents the protective side of the beaver, is to make sure, and you want to double check that where you're going is for you. Listen, the road is never simple. There's always going to be, something thrown in the road, but doesn't mean you have to stop. But if there's a lot of hesitation and it's an uphill battle, constant, you may want to re-examine that. Maybe do something similar or do something totally different. But that's what the beaver spirit is about. So I hope that resonates with somebody out there. It did with me, which is really great. So now the bird. Communication. I communicate from my heart, and love surrounds and protects me. Without communication, what do we have? Lack of communication causes discord. So you want to make sure, again, clear communication with yourself, with spirit, with your gut. It'll guide you. It'll never steer you wrong. Those flags are up there for a reason. Those red flags come up, and we all ignore them. We're all human. We do. But you have to listen to spirit and make sure that when you're manifesting, you're putting what you want out to the universe. Be clear and concise. You want to make sure you're putting out there exactly what you want, because you may just get it. But this is why with the beaver, if the communication's open, you're building a solid foundation. They go together. Okay, I'm gonna put an amethyst on this card. Now, I know for some of you, I'm not really sure if you know what crystals are all about, but this is amethyst, and it's for protection, purification, meditation, happiness. It keeps you calm, it's healing, it removes negativity, you're getting more spiritual awareness with the amethyst. These do really work. These crystals are very powerful, and they come from the earth. There's a lot of energy on these. And it's also known as a natural tranquilizer, which is really, really good. So when you're stressed out and you have a lot of anxiety, it really helps. But I put it on communication because, it's to open up that throat chakra up. Open it. And if you know what a chakra is, you have 7 chakras in the crown, which is on top of your head. Your throat chakra is your throat. It's blue. It's very important that you communicate. Very, very important. Okay. Now, my favorite cards are the angel cards. Let's see what they have to say today. Compassion. When you show greater compassion towards yourself, the universe automatically responds by showering you with greater blessings. Wow, that's very powerful. And I chose rose quartz, which is love, compassion. Okay? Not knowing that this card was going to come out, so of course I'm going to put the love there. Okay. So think about it. You have to love yourself. And you have to have compassion towards what you're going to do with your career, with that dream that you've been dreaming, that's so part of you. But if you love yourself first, you put yourself first, and you can put yourself first. It's not being selfish. It's just you're taking care of you. So through the communication, through building that foundation, have that beaver spirit, okay? It'll all come together. Look for the numbers. Look for the signs from spirit. Ask, and you shall receive. Like they say in the Bible, and it's true. Because what you put out there, words have power, you'll bring to you, whether it's positive or negative. Just think about that. When you're on the road, you're driving on the road. All right, so here's a great example. And let's say someone cuts you off. You're like, what the? And then you go off on them, whatever you want to say. And what happens? It's like all of a sudden, all this negativity, you start seeing more negativity around you because you just bought it to you. Instead of saying, all right, whatever, I'm sure I cut people off too, and just blow it off. You'll see how much easier it is. Like in the morning, I'll say, okay, today I'm going to Starbucks to get my green tea. And you know what? There's not going to be a line, and I'm going to get in and out because where the Starbucks is by us, you can't make a left, but people do anyway. But it just is so much traffic. And you know what happens when I say that? Is I'm going to get that spot in the front today, and I get it because I'm putting it out there. Okay, so if you love what you're doing, communicate, and then build that solid. It's going to all come together and get you to where you need to be. So I hope this resonates with everybody. Again, each week I'm going to bring a different deck depending on what Spirit tells me. And I'll leave you now with my weekly quote that leaves you inspired and motivated for the week. Thanks for always coming back. And here we go. Love and hate share the same intensity. Choose love, not indifference. Have an amazing week.